GracedWithRc's. Today I have a special video. Before I go any further, I want to give a shout out to my boy Mr. Tuner89. He is one of the old school speedrun guys that are still holding down the fort on YouTube, and I really do appreciate he's still out there doing this. Sadly, I retired from doing this a few years back because of the location where I'm at now. I do not have the space anymore, but man, do I want to get back out there and do it. I miss that thrill going, that speed and building these and watching them achieve these speeds that they really should not. So this is my Traxxas two-wheel drive, high center gravity short course truck that I built about 3 years ago. No one was doing the high center gravity two-wheel drive vehicles then. I still don't believe it's that popular because it's not really a vehicle that's designed for that, especially with the high center of gravity. I really want to take on a challenge and see what I could do with a vehicle like this. It started off as a kit that I built. It wasn't a ready-to-run two-wheel drive short course truck. I had pieces laying around from when I built my Stampedes and stuff like that, and when I used to do speed runs with a Traxxas Rustler as well. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try this, build up a race kit. So I started building up a race, a race two-wheel drive high center of gravity short course truck. And trust me, that did not work. That high center of gravity is horrible. So anyways, I thought, you know what, screw it. This vehicle does not work for racing at all. So I was thinking, well, I don't want to get rid of it. It was actually built pretty solid. So I thought, let's just do some speed runs. I was already doing speed runs at the time with my Traxxas Rustler, which I achieved over 100 miles an hour with. So I thought, let's just try this. What should I do? How am I going to do this? And the very first thing I thought was aerodynamics. No matter how high that chassis is, it doesn't matter if I can get that body really low and get the airflow to go over the body nicely and under the body nicely. I won't really have much of a problem with it wanting to flip because speed runs are just straight shot, hold it straight and go. So I kept on doing testing and tuning with this off and up body here. And you can see I did a lot of Gorilla Tape around it to do like fender flares and to get the nose lower. And I kept on adding to it, trimming it. It would make a huge difference on the handling and the speed. I got this vehicle with so much downforce, and I kid you not, I would run in about 60 miles an hour. I would say roughly 60 miles an hour. I could hold the trigger full stick, you know, slowly getting on about 60 and then still keep on going and finally get full stick and just hold the remote up in the air. I wouldn't have to even try to steer it. I wouldn't have to even do anything. This thing stuck like glue. The old school GRPs that I have on here are nice and hard now, but I would do the runs with them, get the tires nice and hot and sticky, and then from using a blow dryer to a heating pad to just warming up the back tires, lifting up the back end and just smoking the rear tires. But this thing actually stuck extremely well, and I kid you not. And everyone's like, how much weight are you running in this? This vehicle only has, I believe, 1 pound, 1 ounce of weight in the nose. That's it. I've known a lot of guys, especially back in the day, they would have 4 to 5 pounds easily all around the vehicle to help it get the nose planted down. I didn't think that's necessary. I thought, you know what? Formula One cars are not heavy whatsoever. I think those vehicles are only around like 1,400 pounds. They do it all with aerodynamics. So I thought, let's just get this thing aerodynamically solid, and then obviously suspension, and it's a whole thing. You gotta have aero, you gotta have traction through the tires, you gotta have the suspension set up right so it doesn't want to squat when you gas it and lift the nose up. Now what I'm gonna do is do a close-up and show you guys underneath the hood, and you're gonna be quite surprised on what I did with this vehicle. This vehicle I achieved 120 miles an hour with. So once I take this body off and show you a close-up, you're gonna be like, How is that even possible with the electronics I used and with the chassis and everything else, and being a two-wheel drive vehicle? So stay tuned. So now the body's off, and you can check underneath the hood of what my layout is. Pro line, upgraded A-arms, and shock towers and stuff like that. That's because I was, like I mentioned before, racing this at a track, and then RPM stuff as well. But these right here, to start with the shocks, I guess, these are just the E-Revo, the 110 scale monster truggy. These are the E-Revo shocks, and then I actually cut them down a little bit to get the spring rate to where I liked it, and this is solid right here. So this setup here worked really well. This right here is the 1 pound, I believe 1 ounce of weight, regular automotive wheel weights, and I just taped them all up and made a platform. The nose here, a lot of people ask me this. This is from one of those Traxxas Tech. Those are the little nitro-powered 110 scale on-road vehicles. And then I use the toe links to hold them in place. That was just to give a little bit of bracing for the front nose of the body, since the body was from the Afina, and that's a 1/8 scale on-road vehicle. So really, this wasn't here for some major crash protection. It was more for just keeping the nose nice and planted and not want to fold in at those speeds. Right here, a lot of people laugh on this. This is the stock 2056 servo, I believe, that Traxxas have, the waterproof one. People are like, you can't do speed runs with this servo. Yeah, you can. This is a two-wheel drive vehicle, and I'm only planning to turn left and right when I'm done with the run. I hope I don't have much steering input when I'm reaching over 100 miles an hour. And plus, my steering dual rate was set really, really low. I would have to actually stop it towards the end of the run and then turn my dual rate up so I can actually make a U-turn and come back to me without doing like an Austin Powers, 20-point turn over and over again. I did a battery hold down with just some straps here instead of doing the stock the stock Traxxas where it would just kind of plug in on the sides. I was running a 6S, and I just dremelled some holes through there and slid these into place, and it actually worked really, really well. So now with the ESC, this ESC is the old school Hobby Wing 150 amp. I love Hobby Wings. For the price, man, they're super durable. I went through a couple Castle Mamba Monster ESCs, blew them up, fried them. Ran this thing, the more and more speed you get, the higher amperes you pull, and you tend to pop the caps out and everything else. I'm not even running an external like BEC or anything like that, just because my servo is just stock. It's just a basic, what is that, probably 96 ounce stock steering servo. So nothing super high energy sucking power, but what I did put on here was the 6.5 millimeter Castle bullet connectors, because you can run a lot more amperage in these as well. All right, let's see what else we got going here. I kept the stock Nerf bars, just like what it would be on a short course truck for the Slash, and these are RPM. But what I did is, knowing that would keep the body from sinking in and sucking in as well, and all I did with these right here are 12 millimeter hex with that are stock on the Traxxas vehicles. I used one of their plastic 12 millimeter hexes, and then I cut off like the stock body post, and then I made it that way, so then when a body goes on over it, it goes against the Nerf bars, and then I can actually put a body pin straight through it, and it'll hold it into place instead of giving any of that weird flexing at high speed. Even though there is going to be flexing, but that kept it from really keeping the wheels tucked in behind the body as well. Let me see here. Really, that's it from here. Let's get to the back. The back here is just Proline A-arms, Proline shock tower, a stock body mount for the Traxxas Slash. I just cut it down and then custom it that way to make the, I think it's called a protoform, if I remember right. You guys probably remember better than I do. I know it's from an Afina. I think it was from the GP2E. That's what it was. It was a GP2E body that was stock that came on off-nose. Now here's the motor. This motor is the 1415 Castle 4-pole brushless motor. This motor came with the Traxxas funny cars. On their website, it says it's rated up to 5S. I ran this on 6S all day. People are saying, there's no way you can run that. It's only limited to 5S. You didn't do these speed runs. You never achieved those speeds. Your GPS is inaccurate. You must have used Traxxas GPS app when you did it. That's all wrong. My videos prove themselves. I think the point is made. You can see the speed coming at the vehicle. You can hear it. It's not sped up. It's the speed it was. I ran a GPS system on it, and it was dead on. There would be times where GPS would get lost, and I would do a killer run, and I would lose all my data, which was very frustrating. It's a 2400 kV motor, and it's very small. This can is really small. It's a little, it's kind of long, but really, compared to like the Mama Monster Castle, that 2200 one that's in like my e-Revo, this thing's tiny. That's why other people just didn't believe that motor can't do that. It had plenty of power and plenty of RPMs. I think I was able to pull 70, 80,000 RPMs out of this thing, and it held up just fine. What I would do is, after every run I would do, which I would get max about 5, and I would call it a day, I would come home, strip all the bearings out, clean the bearings back out, which are stock Traxxas bearings with the blue rubber seal and everything. Clean them all out and re-lube them and put them back in. I was always worried about just over-seasoning a bearing from the heat and then locking up and then have the vehicle just go crashing into the distance. Now the gearing on the side here, let's see if you can get a good look of it. I'm gonna try to look in my phone here. That is a 34-34. So let's see, there we go. It's 1-to-1 gearing. The pinion gear was from the X01, and the spur gear was just the intake that you can put on the e-Revos and stuff as well. Here's another thing that tripped everyone out. Stock Traxxas plastic drive shafts. They're not upgraded. I didn't buy the Pro lines. I didn't buy any of that. Those are stock. I would baby this thing to get it up to speed. It's not, all right, ready, go, full throttle. It's like full throttle. It's very slow. It's very progressive on the trigger. And man, that is a great feeling when you have that baby center full stick and it just zoom, it just zings. I'll show you underneath. Underneath is just the RPM, skids. And you can see the 2056 servo on there. I do have like the intake hubs, front and rear. That's just because, like I said, I was using it for racing. It's not necessary, but it does help out a little bit of the slop in the wheels. That's another really important thing, is just the extra slop. I do have the intake 17 millimeter adapters I put on there. Loctite, 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 my friends. All right, guys, you guys take care. Catch you next time.